Episode 4, Beach City Brewery's Overhead Barley Wine. We're back for Episode 4 featuring Beach City Brewery's 13% Overhead Barley Wine. Tonight on the show, we have MJ, who is the lead bartender at the Brick at Blue Star. MJ brought us a special treat, so we're also drinking a comparison between two Berliner Wiesses, one from San Antonio Freetail Brewery and the other from Independence Brewery. I was in California this past week where I visited Beach City Brewery in Huntington Beach. So I decided to pick up a 32-ounce growler and put their barley wine to the test. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by our thoughts. All right, we're live. Good Thursday afternoon, or Thursday evening, actually. I guess Friday morning now, technically. I'm here with Jarvis.
Hello.
And our good friend MJ.
Hello.
He's our special guest tonight. So basically what we're going to be talking about tonight is some really crazy barley ale. Jarvis, I've been gone for, a week?
Right about. And sorry to correct you, barley wine.
Sorry about that, barley wine.
Which isn't ale, so...
It all works together, though. So we're about to go live with Periscope, but let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. So tonight we have Beach City Breweries out of Huntington Beach. It's a 13% barley wine. This should be pretty amazing. We'll see. Like I said, I've been gone in California for a week, so the next few episodes are going to be California specialty ales that were brewed in small local breweries. Jarvis, what do you know about barley wine?
I know barley wine is a very old style of beer, usually between 9 and 13% ABV, darkish in color, sometimes referred to as a double IPA, which sometimes is pretty close, sometimes not so much. But it's big, it's heavy, it's malty, it's hoppy, it's like wine, but brewed with the same ingredients that a beer is made with. So hence barley wine.
So is it a hoppy beer then, or is it a traditional beer?
It can be as hoppy as an IPA or a double IPA, but there's so much malt backbone to it where it kind of balances out. So it'll have the same IBU range as a higher, a hoppier IPA or a double IPA. But since it's so malty, it balances out where you don't really perceive that same hoppy bitterness. So the best way I can really describe it is just, it's a big beer, lots of flavor, lots of alcohol, lots of layers of flavor too. So I'm really looking forward to this.
This should be interesting. MJ, do you have anything to add to that?
No, let's dig into this beer here. I'm eager. I've never had a barley wine before. I don't think. Maybe once or twice. Now that I think about it, but I can't remember. Maybe What do they call it? The King William there, and maybe you guys have carried any at your place? No.
So. Right now, the difference between this podcast and other podcasts is we typically pop open a bomber, which is a 22-ounce bottle of beer. And I'm sorry, guys, tonight Periscope's on horizontals. It can be a little hard to respond to your comments. But this is a 32-ounce growler that was flown back. So we're going to give it the benefit of the doubt in terms of freshness because it's been in the refrigerator for 4 days as a growler, which we all know does lose a little bit of carbonation, but we should still get the taste. So Jarvis is pouring it. It's actually a rather rich, reddish brown color to it.
Like a red ale almost.
Yep. As you guys can see from the picture here on Periscope, it's dark, but definitely not stout quality, and it's not thick. So we've actually tapped the entire thing right now.
Woo!
I'm gonna try to move this camera so we can see what you guys are saying because we do want to know what you guys think.
Are there people watching on Periscope right now?
There are.
Sweet. That's a good beer.
It's sweet. It's fairly dense. A little bit hoppy. It's almost like chewy. It's so dense.
All right, so I haven't tasted it yet. It has a great smell to it. Oh wow, it is. There is some thickness to it that I didn't expect. I want to say, without being insulting, almost like a really watered down oatmeal type density and thickness. I do like it. It's a little hot, it's a little malty for me personally, but as we all know, I'm the hop guy.
Yeah, and you also don't like stouts, but this is still fairly hoppy. It's not even fairly hoppy. It's more than moderately hoppy.
You know, I'm willing to admit that I was wrong with the stouts after our Outer Darkness.
What is this?
Someone saying it looks like crude oil.
Is this like typical of the barley wine style, or is this what is different and
I want to say no, because Joey's over at Blue Star Brewery is a lot lighter than this, if I remember right.
I wouldn't say his is a lot lighter, but this is a very good commercial example. I mean, it's not widely commercially available, but it's reddish in hue. It's not too dark. It's not brown. It's malty. It's hoppy. It's dense. It's sweet. There's a lot of things going on in this beer.
Oh no, there's definitely a lot. I can't pin down the exact flavor I'm tasting.
The word caramel comes to mind.
It does.
Caramel flavor.
You're right. So this is part one. We're trying to refine our podcast a little bit more. We're giving you our initial take, so we'll come back to that. We try to just do one beer review per podcast, but tonight, because we have a small amount of beer, the 32 ounce, we're actually going to be doing a head-to-head competition between what, MJ?
We have here the Yo Soy un Berliner from Freetail Brewery here in San Antonio.
Bring it a little bit closer to your mouth, MJ.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. We have the Yo Soy un Berliner from Freetail Brewery. It's a Berliner Weiss style, and we also have the Independence Brewery out of Austin, Redbud Berliner Weiss style. So it's like a Texas Berliner Weiss shootout here. I'm a fan of this style. I know that Jarvis likes the Redbud, but does not care for the Yo Soy un Berliner. So we're gonna try and compare and contrast a little bit.
So what is the difference between Berliner Weiss and, say, something like what we're drinking right now?
Well, first let me say that I've only had the Freetail Yo Soy un Berliner on draft, so I'm excited to try this. I'm guessing I'm still going to like the Redbud better, but we'll see. Berliner Weiss is a much lighter style, more summery. It is it's much lower ABV, German style of beer, type of Weiss beer, hence Berliner Weiss. So it's got the wheat backbone instead of malted barley, and it's a little sour. It's a little tart. On draft, when I had the Freetail version, it was not as tart. It's more mild. So just very slightly tart, slightly sour, where the Redbud is definitely way more tart. Almost like a sour gummy worm.
Yeah. So someone just said you like Tecate. You said you like Tecate. I don't recall saying that.
I do not like Tecate.
But I will say this
I
much.
do not like Tecate. I'll drink it if it's there.
Exactly.
Head to head, Tecate versus Modelo. Yeah. Modelo wins all day.
Tecate versus Corona. I'll take Tecate all day.
We should do like a Mexican beer throwdown too. I mean, they're all kind of like light lager style beers, but
are.
You know, is the Dos Equis man really the most interesting man in the world?
No,
I don't think so. Victoria. I don't know. There's like a long list of like better Mexican beers. Anyway.
So let's let this beer sit for a second. Someone's trolling us, or like you said, shit ties Old English for first place. Well, yeah, you're right. Shit does tie Old English for first place, not Schlitz. But that being said, so let's talk about.
I would prefer to never ever drink another Schlitz or an Old English ever in my life.
Well, Jarvis, if I remember right, what is it?
Do like a malt liquor throwdown.
The cousin.
I would bow out of that. Actually, no, I would do it just to do it, but I would not be happy.
But the cousin of Schlitz is what, Pabst?
I don't know if they're cousins. Schlitz may actually be brewed under Pabst because they own like 20-something different breweries. It's all under the Pabst Brewing. They own Lone Star. Yeah. They own Old Style. They own PBR, obviously. And Rainier. They do a lot of like the local
staples.
Yeah, like think of Texas Lone Star, and then other states what their Lone Star equivalent is. That's the same company, or the same umbrella company.
So I've been gone for a
kissing
week.
Cousins. They're kissing cousins.
I've been gone for a week in California, and a lot's changed for me. I've deferred leaving Texas. In fact, tonight or tomorrow, I have to send some paperwork into the school I was going to go to defer till January. So I'll be here till at least the end of November. Watch some Walking Dead with you guys.
I fully support that and like it. And sweet, we'll keep you here as long as we can.
Thank you. But so that's the big changes in the last week for my life. What about you, Jarvis? What's been going on?
Same old. Still waiting for the new job to start.
Any word on that?
Hopefully by the end of August. And I guess, is this August yet? No, this is July 31st.
I guess Saturday, actually.
Yeah. So hopefully end of August we'll be open. Gonna showcase some great cocktails, great wine, great beer, great champagne, great view, just incredible venue. Unfortunately, it's just taking a while to get it opened, and that's how it goes sometimes with opening up a new place.
So now MJ, he is a local to the neighborhood. In fact, true. Where Joe Blues is, you guys have seen some of the pre-podcasts. It's probably, 50, 75 yards away from...
Yeah, not even that far.
MJ is kind of like the dude at Brick at Blue Star. They do some amazing Sunday shops as far as artists and other creatives coming out and being able to showcase their work. And he runs a great, if you're in San Antonio, a great Monday night game night, including alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
So, MJ, what's new in your life?
We've been staying busy at the Brick. This past Monday, we just added a ping pong table to the accoutrement at game night at the Brick,
which seemed to be a hit.
Oh yeah, no, I there was a lot of people excited to do it. One guy took his shirt off at one point,
which was kind of disturbing.
People were taking it very seriously, which I guess is encouraging. Getting people out doing something other than sitting around in a bar looking at their phone or their computer or whatever.
Which, I mean, have you guys noticed that? And I'm guilty of it completely, where you'll be in a bar, there'll be 6 to 20 people in the bar, and 18 of those 20 people are on their phones.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny to go into Halcyon and like count the Apple laptops sitting down the row. People are getting work done and stuff. It's a coffee shop after all, but
I don't know. I kind of feel like, so I've come to this conclusion when I was in LA and saw just how bad the traffic was. People texting and people talking on the phone, which over there is just like most places technically illegal. And you got to wonder yourself, how many of these people are doing work-related shit? And how many of these people realize that they get paid hourly? And when they leave work, they're off the clock. So they're still beholden to this methodology that I have to answer this text. Well, I'm not getting paid for that text. I'm not getting paid for my gas. I'm not getting paid for my time I'm wasting. So why am I still conducting business?
It's 2015, I mean, it's unfortunate that that's the way it is, but that's the way it is. People are trying to market themselves, trying to stay competitive, have that edge, over whoever, whatever their competition is, whether it's another business, whether it's another employee at their company, they're vying for promotions, etc.
But now let me ask you this. So if you were a business owner, would you expect an employee to be answering emails and texts after hours when you're not paying them?
I think it depends on the position.
But is that an expectation?
Well, again, depends on the position, depends if they're hourly, if they're salary.
Well, let's say they're hourly.
But even beyond that, America is, I don't want to say the hardest working country in the Western world, but we log more hours, like per capita. Yeah, we put in longer hours for less pay than lots of Scandinavia, where they have tons of paid time off. Mothers and fathers for newborns get I believe it's a full year off for maternity and paternity leave. Like, that's unheard of in America.
Yeah. So
right, because
25 days, 30 days.
And then for Jeb Bush, sorry to bring up politics, but not really that sorry, how he said, Americans need to work longer hours when Congress hasn't worked a 5-day week all year.
Yeah.
And I understand they also do work when they're not in session, when they're not in D.C., but still it's and then for them to just get voted in once for a 2-year position, and then they get lifetime health coverage, lifetime benefits, lifetime retirement.
We got some amens going on here.
That's pretty fucking ridiculous.
Well, there was this interesting post on Facebook earlier, and I'll look it up and get the names right here in a second, but where it showed all sorts of congressmen who and senators, not by party, but by years of service, and how many years they've served in Congress, but yet it was by a quote-unquote conservative group that puts at the very end. In 1944 or whatever, they voted the amendment that said that the president can do no more than 2 years, because having that long, or 2 terms, that long in...
I didn't realize that that 2-term limit for the president was that recent.
Yeah.
When was it? I'm sorry.
But
44?
Yeah, 44. Or somewhere right around there, middle of World War II.
And I still support that.
But the point is, regardless of party, too long in power corrupts power. But yet, so we can't have a president do 4 or 5 terms.
Well, what do you think about Supreme Court justices sit for life? I mean, if you get appointed to the Supreme Court, you're there.
But
so
that's one aspect, and I do want to believe that the justices, from my perspective, actually read the law and understand the law.
It's beyond that. It's their interpretation of the law.
Right. But
even then, because it's a 9 justices, and since they're there so long, they get appointed from when there's a Republican president in office, then a Democratic president, and keeps going back and forth.
Right.
So
but that's kind of the point.
It is a fairly good mix, but it's not perfect, just like anything else.
Well, sure. I mean, what's somebody tell me what the longest sitting current Supreme Court judge or justice is, and when was that person appointed?
I want to say it's Sandra Day O'Connor,
was Scalia. Scalia's in his 70s.
Well, here
somebody look it up, right?
Yeah,
but
we can look it up.
Obviously Sandra Day's not there now, so I don't know if she's dead, but. I'm out of the loop on so many political things, but are you talking longest ever sitting or longest current sitting?
Current sitting.
Then it should be either Scalia or Thomas, I would think. I could be wrong, but I would guess one of those two.
So we're going to look this up real quick. But the point is, okay, so the founding fathers said that judges should be a lifetime appointment, but everyone else should have a chance to go up against the people and the way I look at it is redeem your actions against how the people feel towards your actions. So take away the whole party element of it. You voted for this in my district, and I disagree with you. I have the right to say, fuck you, and I'm not going to vote for you again. Whereas Supreme Court justices are the ultimate arbitrators. All they're supposed to do, and again, this is in the Constitution, not in real life, is they're supposed to look at the law that was given to them and say, is this constitutional or not, based off of what the founding fathers saw. And sadly enough, I think it has become very political.
I just want to clarify here. We're talking about the Constitution, which, has been amended, multiple times since. So when you say the founding fathers, you mean initially the founding fathers, but the changes that have also been made to that
just like
after the fact.
Does anyone realize out there that the 13th Amendment, which abolishes slavery, doesn't abolish slavery as a whole?
What do you mean?
So hold on, I'm going to look this up real quick. But
we need a fact checker. Any of you people out there on the Periscope want to find your way to San Antonio, Tommy will put you up. He's got a nice place here. You can be a fact checker.
Or even better, if you live in San Antonio and you want to sit behind us while we do this, and you just constantly fact check us for free, we can pay you in beer. So it's not technically free. We got you.
Yeah.
So
we
quick,
won't ask
to the person
that
said that it didn't make them citizens, that's wrong. It did. So the 13th Amendment, I think, and again, I may be quoting the wrong amendment. 13th Amendment to the United States abolishes slavery. Okay, so the text. Where is the text? All persons are equal before the law, and no person can hold another as a slave, and the Congress shall have power to make laws necessary and proper to this declaration. So basically, it did said everyone is equal under the law, but there is another passage to that. Where is the actual text? Okay, so go ahead, Jarvis.
Back to U.S. Supreme Court. Antonin Scalia, longest serving. When
was he appointed?
This little short thing that I'm reading doesn't say, but Anthony Kennedy, Associate Justice on the U.S. Supreme Court, appointed in 1988, Anthony Kennedy by President Reagan as the second longest serving current justice following Antonin Scalia. He's known to be the swing vote on many court decisions.
That's the black dude, right?
No. Kennedy.
That's a white guy.
It's fucking Kennedy, man. The Kennedy family.
I thought it was Thomas. My mistake.
Clarence Thomas, the guy who put his pubes on the soda can in the late 80s, early 90s.
The glove doesn't fit.
I was 8 years old when that news came out. It's I kind of know what pubes are, and I know what a soda can is, and I know you shouldn't put... Right. Don't... And around that same time, Ghostbusters, do not mix those streams. But he crossed the streams.
Do you think Anthony Scalia likes barley wine?
No.
Do you think he knows what barley wine is?
No.
I mean, he's 72 years old, man. He's got to he's got to be a pretty well-read guy. I mean, it's a fucking Supreme Court justice,
here's the thing
man.
with any of those legal aspect people.
They don't drink.
I think
they don't drink?
No, they're more whiskey. They're more.
So he could talk to us about scotches and shit.
More scotch, but he may know barley wine.
Yeah, I mean, is he is there anybody on the Supreme Court that drinks IPA? That's into brews their own shit at home? Nobody, maybe. I don't know.
The one good thing about the Supreme Court is they're not in the individuals themselves are not seeking media attention. So who knows? Maybe they do. Whereas I could probably tell you that Obama or any of the major House people probably do.
We know for sure Obama loves good beer. It was his first year in office where he said that he was a home brewer, and
did he say?
I'm pretty sure it was the first year. If not first year, definitely first term.
Well, I
a couple years ago, there was an official whitehouse.org or .gov page that had his at least one. I think it was 2 recipes for. It was a brown ale and something else that he was brewing.
Oh wow!
And it was
I didn't
presidential whatever ale.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was a home brewer.
Well, he was from Chicago, and they have a great beer history there. He knows his beer.
I'm from Orange County, California, where there's 40 breweries. Doesn't mean I brew my own beer, but I appreciate it.
Thanks, Obama.
So real quick to the person making the comments about the mic. Yes, the mics are here. They're real. They do increase quality, but we're not piping.
Holy shit! These mics are real.
Well, we're not piping into the mics right now, so therefore.
So
they're hearing on Periscope.
Yeah, you'll hear the better sound if you listen to the podcast later.
The podcast is taking all the sound, not the mics. The mics aren't taking into Periscope.
Yeah, quick laundry list of tech wishes.
Sorry, we couldn't appeal to your fucking audiologists.
Calm down.
Whatever.
Yeah, we do a podcast, and this is just your opportunity to see into how we go.
Yeah, and what we look like and the clothes we're wearing when we do this. I wish there was,
because it's a part of our vocabulary.
I wish there was a third. Should we not curse? Is that a thing?
No, hell no.
Okay,
First Amendment.
Right. I wish there was a third microphone. I wish there was a webcam.
Do you wish you were a little bit taller?
Oh,
Do you wish you were a baller?
I fucking wish I was a baller. I wish Obama was here to drink beer with us.
You know, that's one of our goals in the future is to get retired.
You could wish that you were a little bit taller, but then you just be a jerk because you're already pretty fucking tall. So,
all right, I wish you guys were a little bit taller.
Hey, I'm almost as tall as you. So, real quick,
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
We're gonna switch subjects real quick here. Shark bites. What the fuck is going on in the East Coast with all these shark attacks?
There's been a lot of shark attacks.
Did you guys actually more so? Did you guys see the guy who got?
I saw the video of that surfer.
Yeah,
like fighting off the sharker.
Apparently, there were two, according to one of the reports I saw. Like,
well, I don't know.
I would get in front of a camera. I would be kissing the ground and going like,
does it have anything to do with like overfishing and now like there's not enough fish and the sharks are like
part of the problem with that?
Did the sharks watch Sharknado and like now they're like fucking into
maybe it was a Sharknado.
The sharks are also overfished, so it's
tomato, right? Yeah.
So, but one of the things that happened is they were in J Bay, South Africa. Which is
where is that? On the coast somewhere?
Like on the coast of South Africa.
I think that's actually it's not on the coast. It's landlocked.
Yeah, it's inland. There's been a rash of inland shark attacks.
Exactly. So
fucking terrible, you guys.
But J Bay
Africa's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So J Bay is apparently towards the tip of South Africa, which is near Antarctica. And it's a major passageway for great white. So, like, they know that there are sharks there, and it's very common.
They're surfing anyway, right? I mean,
but like for anyone to go
is it
over
surfers
there,
or it's like anybody who goes in the water there?
Like it's a known. Like if you go in the water, there's a good chance you may run into a shark.
It seems pretty. Yeah, that seems like part of the deal. Like I don't think a surfer gets attacked by a shark and is then later like, huh. I never fucking considered that could happen.
I'll say
like,
this
they
much.
know.
Like,
they know what they're doing. They're like, I love waves or whatever, and they're out there. That's
if I was back where I grew up in Huntington Beach as a bodyboarder, and I got attacked by a shark 40 feet off the pier at 10 o'clock at night, I would freak out and think to myself, wow, that's random. Because there's not a lot of shark attacks in Southern California. But in South Africa, there's fucking shark attacks like every day. So there's like, why the fuck would you decide to go, great waves, but we're going to put every contestant at risk?
Well, I don't know.
Did he win like a gold medal by default?
He should get like some special recognition.
Like the ice, the ice survived award.
A statue of a dude's fist up a shark's ass, and then the shark like mounted, all like gold plated. Yeah, the honorary shark attack winner victim.
So let's revert back to the beer real quick after Jarvis says
hold on real quick, because this is coming off like, what was it, 2, maybe 3 weeks ago that Shark Week just happened?
Yeah. I'm telling you, they have cable underwater.
Well, according to Shark Week, we kill, as humans worldwide, 100 million sharks a year. So, like, yeah, shark attacks are going to happen. But you are more likely to get killed from a dog than a shark.
Yeah.
You're more likely to get killed from multiple bee stings than a shark. You're more likely to win the lotto twice than to get killed by a shark. Like, Well, and that too, yeah. Obviously, yeah. You're like 18,000 times more likely to drink yourself to death than die from a shark. So it's just part of the scenery, and they understand it, and
it is what it is.
I mean, like Shark Week, like you said a second ago, Shark Week is like this media phenomenon where it's like all, and now like National Geographic was putting out like shark related documentaries and shit, and like other channels are starting to catch on to it at the same time. So doesn't it make sense then that maybe like the news media is gonna like pick up shark stories around that same time too? Like, it's fucking Shark Week, man. Like you were saying, shark attacks happen, not all that often, but like relatively often. They happen anyway. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do, right? And is it maybe not some sort of like feedback loop where because it's in the media, we're like seeing it more in the media because it's
I think
it's garnering interest from the public. So this week's story is fucking sharks, y'all. Better watch out.
I think that's absolutely.
So now we're hearing about all these shark attacks where really it's like maybe a little bit more 35 minutes.
We're 30 minutes into it.
30 minutes into it.
Real quick, Jarvis, let's go back to the beer. So 30 minutes into this podcast, I got a little bit left. You seem clean. MJ seems clean.
Yeah, I finished mine prematurely. I wanted to like swirl it around the glass to see if it did get legs.
What was your thoughts?
It was delicious. Very well balanced between malty and hoppy. Pretty sweet, but not overly sweet. Wasn't cloying. Kind of toasty. I wouldn't say biscuity.
When you say toasty, what do you mean by toasty?
Like light toasty malts.
Roasted almost
well, yeah. I don't want to say like marshmallow because it wasn't that sweet, but like
almost a smoky quality to it.
Well, give MJ the
I didn't really get smoky, but the thing with beers, and I tell this to people all the time, like you can't argue. Like if you taste this and I taste this. Like, yeah. First, right? Well, yeah, there's no argument. I can't say, like, no, you did not taste this. But, yeah, not overly sweet. It was good.
MJ, what's your thoughts on the beer?
I've always been a little reticent to try barley wines because I've had a few that I don't know if I wasn't ready emotionally to drink a barley wine at the time. But, This one, I tried it. It was pretty good. I appreciated that it was a little bit on the hoppier side, what I would consider on the hoppier side of barley wines I've had in the past. I tend to not drink higher ABV beers, so I probably wouldn't go out of my way to drink a beer like this. But having drank this beer, I can say I definitely wouldn't turn a beer like this down. The lady on the commercials agrees with me, I think. What did you think? What's your final word here on the barley wine?
I've been milking this, so for me, it's heavy, it's rich, and other than that, I'm bad with flavor profile, so I'm not going to dive into flavor profiling. But that being said, I do like it. I would drink it again. It's definitely not a bad beer. It's well crafted.
So on a 5-star scale,
I would put it at 3.5.
That's fair.
What's your number?
I would probably do the same, maybe 4, but yeah, I would do 4 just to be safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely no less than a 3.5. Or if we could split it, I would do 3.75.
Okay.
And again, that was the barley wine from Beach City Brewery in Huntington Beach, California. Is that correct?
Correct.
Does it have a name?
Is it a named
hold on. Let me bring
beer? Okay, so I want to start.
It's called Overhead Barley Wine.
Overhead Barley Wine from Beach City Brewery out of Huntington Beach, California.
So MJ, what do you give it?
I would have to side with you guys, man. I'd say it's like a solid 3.8, 3.7, a 4. I don't know. It's good. It's a good beer. It's a good, drinkable, palatable beer.
Now, in all fairness, to get to a 5 between me and Jarvis, it's probably an almost impossibility.
Have you guys had a 5 on the podcast yet? Have you had a beer that was a 5?
I think the one last week we had, but I'm partial to it. The St. Bernardus, but the Bomber. It has a cork And normally, bomber versus 12-ounce portion, bomber wins. But for this beer, for some reason, I don't know if it's the gas exchange, but I like the smaller, like it's not 12 ounce, it's like 11.7 because it's the weird European serving size. The smaller bottle of St. Bernardus ABT 12, 5. Every fucking time. The first time I had that beer, I literally got weak in the knees. It's that fucking good. Go out and buy St. Bernardus ABT 12 Belgian Abbey Ale from Watu, I don't know how to pronounce it. 10% Belgian quadruple, toasty, delicious. The perfect amount of carbonation, like a million little bubbles just popping in your mouth. Like it's literally heaven in a bottle.
All right, we're gonna end the Periscope right now. Thank you guys for watching.
Bye, Periscope.
You guys rock.
So I was gonna talk about my number 5 beer, right? And to segue into this next part we're gonna do, the first time I ever had a Berliner Weisse, it was I'm pretty sure it's like the Berliner Weisse. It's called 1809. It's like out of Belgium, I think. I don't even fucking know. Maybe this is, again, we need a fact checker. Somebody could look this up for me. I looked it up one time. I can't remember. It's like the Berliner Weisse. It's tart. It's crisp. It's not too sweet. It's not too sour. It's perfect. And so recently, a number of craft breweries in Texas, anyway, to beat sort of. I think they're billing the Berliner Weisse style as sort of like a way to like beat the heat. For example, looking at the labeling. We're going to talk about the labeling a little bit now. On the Red Bud out of Independence Brewery. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What were you asking to look up?
A beer called 1809. Also, turn that bullshit off.
Damn it, Tommy.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right. So the Red Bud can. I'm going to talk about the Berliner Weisse can too, which is eminently more exciting for me to talk about.
But you were asking Berliner Weisse.
The beer is called 1809. Just the numbers 1809. Okay. I can't tell you the brewery. I can't tell you where it's out of, but hopefully
it's Professor Fritz Bremen 1809 Berliner Weisse.
Yeah, it's like the original shit. Like, yeah, that beer was the first Berliner Weisse I had, and then these beers are sort of mimicking the style of the Berliner Weisse, but they also, I think, as a lot of craft breweries will do, are not trying to be entirely true to form. They want to put their own sort of interpretation on it, their own sort of stylings,
Right. I think that there's a lot of people out there who are trying to do the Brew Dogs or the Brewmeister take on it, which
they're rock stars, right? These brewery guys, they're fucking rock stars.
But which is, I want to take a really, really good style, an IPA, a Hefeweizen, a Saison, or a Berliner Weisse, and put my own flavor to it.
Right.
So there's a lot of infusions and the such.
Well, and you end up with some interesting products. I'm like I said earlier, I'm partial to Berliner Weisses. Both these beers here, both the Josoyer and Berliner and the Red Bud, I appreciate.
So what are we trying to accomplish here?
I think what we're going to do is I just kind of want to compare and contrast these two beers, and I want to get your guys' opinion on what you think of these beers and which one you like better and for what reasons, so we can kind of see whose beer, which Freetail or Independence Brewery has a better interpretation of the Berliner Weisse style.
So give us a real quick background. So where is Freetail from?
Okay, so Freetail is a brewery that was started here in San Antonio, originally out on 1604, and then in the past, couple years when the beer laws changed here in Texas, it was 3 years. They opened like a larger scale brewery. They had a brew pub on the outskirts of San Antonio for a while, and then they bought like an old like warehouse near to downtown. I know this because I'm from San Antonio, it's close to where we are right now, so I can talk about it better. I can't talk about Independence Brewery as much, but opened a beautiful facility, put a lot of money into it, and they've started cranking out some decent beers. The Helles is good. I'm partial to the Berliner. I know some people are not as into it. They had a beer that had like Chile in it, which was that's a pretty unique. Yeah, the Piñata Protest, which is also happens to be a local band name. So they're doing a lot. And I want to talk about the labeling on these two cans here for a second too. And again, so I was saying that a lot of companies are kind of pushing the Berliner Weisse style as like a lighter, it's lower ABV, usually not more than 4.5%, 5%, sort of an outdoor style. Okay, so Jarvis is telling me that the Friedel Josoyer Berliner is 4.4 ABV. And the Redbud is 4.5. That's the
beer advocate rating.
So the beer advocate rating puts Friedel slightly ahead of Redbud at 86. Friedel at 86 and Redbud at 85. So they're pretty neck and neck here. They're both Texas beers. That's where we are. So we're gonna try and figure out which one's better. Let's go ahead and crack some of these open. Ooh, shit.
Sounds nice.
So the Redbud, hold on.
All right, so we got to get the cleaning crew up here.
Yeah, I got some.
Where are the Mexicans
beer
at?
on the mic.
Sorry, the white people, the brown people.
So right away, the Redbud, I opened it and it just foamed off over the can. Tasting it now, a little sour, a little sweet, very light, very crisp. Kind of got that sticky finish on the back of your tongue that you end up with when you drink like a Gatorade or something almost, but a little sour note to it. And on the can has a woman painted very stylistically, sitting in her bikini, lounging on what appears to be the banks of a river, and there's a dog with her, and they're under some trees. So it would seem to imply that this would be a good beer to enjoy during the sun.
I'm scared to open up the second one because I bet it's gonna foam over too. So here we go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right away. I don't know if that's part of the canning process or if they kind of warmed up a little bit here as we were sitting. We didn't have them chilling down, so we are drinking it a little warmer than maybe. Let's see. It says the Redbud says on the can, inspired by the traditionally tart and lemony German summer beer. And so correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but so with Berliner Weisses, they'll sometimes add like a fruit flavoring, almost like a framboise or something, right? And I'm pretty sure the Berliner Weiss style is similar to the framboise in that they will like open air hop them, right?
I have to admit, I've never had a Berliner Weiss, so I couldn't tell you.
I know for sure traditional Berliner Weiss, it's good by itself. It's tart, kind of funky, fruity, weird, and they, in the old German tradition, will add different flavored syrups, but not like a lambic, where a lambic is open air fermented. There was an old school PBS documentary by this British guy, Michael Jackson, called The Beer Hunter. And he goes to an old school Belgian brewery, and they won't even sweep up the cobwebs in the corners of the brewery.
What?
Because the wild yeast. They dare not clean the brewery. You don't touch a fucking thing in the brewery except the kettles.
Wild yeast.
Yeah, because they would get that wild yeast from just by lucky happenstance, that geographic parallel in the world was perfect for this one random yeast that will float into your beer, and it would get like a weird, like 6-8 inch rocky head, and these little worms start to live in there. And then once the worms start poking up out of the top of the head in this open fermenter, like think above ground pool.
Yeah.
You've bought a 10-foot diameter open pool, but you're brewing beer in it, and the beer goes crazy fermenting and makes this weird 2-foot rocky head, and worms live in it. And as soon as the worms poke out of it, that's when you know it's ready. You scrape the head, you bottle it, and it's fucking delicious. It makes no sense, but it's awesome.
That does sound pretty ridiculous. I'll have to say then that probably neither Friedel nor Independence Brewery does any open air. It's probably like not like FDA approved or whatever.
Well,
but Tommy, I see you sniffing that beer over there. What do you think? You said you had never had a Berliner Weisse before?
Not that I can recall. I'm going to take a taste right now.
All right. Yeah, I'm eager to see your opinion because me and Jarvis both have sort of our understandings and our appreciations for it. So I wanted a fresh outlook here.
I got to be honest with you, it's not my type of beer, but it feels more like it's a carbonated soda than it is a beer.
I can see that.
Almost looks like Surge or something.
How about you hold your beer glass up so that you can see towards the light, so you can see it's hazy.
Oh no, it's definitely hazy. There's no light transmission going through.
And the coloration, it's almost like a neon, like a lemon lime Gatorade coloration almost.
I feel like it's really
bizarre.
cloudy. Exactly what MJ just said. I feel like it's a really cloudy.
I mean, I
Gatorade.
We carry this at the Brick, obviously, and I sometimes encourage people to try this style of beer, but I always try to preface that idea with this one, that this is like not like a beer you've had before. Like the Berliner Weisse is like a whole different thing, it seems to me, flavor profile wise and like coloration wise and like just everything about it. And I don't know what it is that is so different about it. I mean, can either of you tell me about like the process?
I don't know about the brewing process for this beer, but for San Antonio, it's tart. It's kind of weird. It's very different than most beers that most people in San Antonio have ever had. But a lot of San Antonians have had chamoy snow cones and Chinese candies, where it's in the same vein, at least, that same like tart, sweet, awesome, like. That's why I think Freetail did their version of their Berliner Weisse, like, and the Hispanic and German mashup, like Yo soy un Berliner.
Well,
which is a very San Antonio thing in and of itself, anyway, right? Like
it definitely
San Antonio
has
German.
a candy taste to it. It's definitely really sugary.
Well, and I saw a guy. I served this to a guy, and then he asked me if I had any beer salt, and he was, and I have some like kind of wacky beer salts there. Yeah, so he was putting like a Chile lime beer salt with more lime and then with like regular beer salt on it, and that's part of what it was. I mean, there is a certain appreciation in San Antonio, at least, for that sort of
well, and I think
like
that
whacked out, like crazy, like intense flavor experience, you know, of like super sour, super bitter, whatever, super spicy. So
I think that whole idea goes a little bit deeper than just what we're talking about here with beers. I was over at Dorschel, which is a
they brew
apricot brandy.
Yeah, apricot brandy is traditional
out of Croatia.
What is it? What's the like country of origin?
They're out of Croatia.
Croatia,
Yeah,
Serbia,
Croatia.
Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro, whatever.
That area.
That part of the world.
And
where I guess they grow apricots.
Previous like their new bartender after Nick left, their new bartender used to be at SA Express, and he would just hang out there randomly, and they asked him like, "Hey, Nick's leaving. You hang out here kind of regularly or whatever. Do you want to be the new bartender?"
So I could have gotten the job?
No.
God damn you.
It had to have been
someone with some competence?
It had to have been Valentino. Like, somehow it worked out. I can't explain it. It's awesome. And from what I understand, he's loving this job way more than SA Express. Nothing against SA Express.
But that being said, though, so
all right. So Tommy, what's your overall like score this beer right now? Like scale of 1 to 5 or whatever, like we were doing earlier.
I'll give it an honest scale, taking away my bias against it.
Well, no, I mean that's whatever you got to do. That's part of it too.
My bias against this flavor, which is a really sour beer.
Then score it twice.
Yeah. Give us your personal
I'm
rating.
Give you one score as an honest judge, and I'll say 3.
A 3? Okay, that's fair. I personally, like having had 1809, which I feel like is like the like golden example of what this style is. I mean, so the little bit I do know about that beer is that it was like, the reason it's named 1809 is because like it's based on a recipe that like is dated back to that time period, which was like during the Napoleonic Wars and shit. So there's all kinds of history about it, but so it's like the original style for me. And so that being the golden standard and this being Austin's interpretation, and then like removing out my bias against Austin, I'd have to give it like a 3.5 or a 4. But you know, I'm really interested. I want to save some of these. I really want to do it like a side by side. I mean, we'll just. I'll run downstairs. Cool. I'm gonna. I want to talk about this
real
can.
Quick, Travis, give us your rating. Then can go do it.
For this, I would give it a solid 4. It's maybe even 4.25 if we can again go to quarter percentages instead of halves. But this is a very solid, very good iteration of the style. This is a very good commercial example of the style. If somebody's never had a Berliner Weisse, I would say go get Redbud and try that. And I'd still really want to try the Freetail in the can because I've only had it on draft and I didn't like it on draft. It was kind of, I don't want to say too sour. It was almost like kind of like bile. It was not good. Yeah. So I really do want to try this. I want to give it a second chance.
Well, real quick before Jarvis runs downstairs, I gotta say, thank you, Jarvis, because part of what we do here at the Two Guys Drinking Beer podcast is we get drunk. The other half of what we do is we try to give it the normal everyday person's take on it. I don't drink this shit regularly. That's why I gave it a 3, and it's not my type of beer.
That's fair.
But to hear Jarvis talk about it, I do agree with him. Like, from hearing his evaluation of what a 4 is, I'm not going to change my rating from a 3, but I can agree with his 4 rating. And that's what we do, is we really go out of our way to be honest about what we taste.
Yeah, no, I this is fun for me. I get to talk into a microphone.
You do.
Yeah.
So MJ, what do you think about all these this craziness that's going on with these guys, with these 2 teenage kids that are missing, and Joe Namath getting involved with like offering $100,000 reward?
What? I guess I'm like out of the loop, man. I don't even know.
So apparently,
Joe Namath, that's a football guy from he used to play on the Cowboys or whatever.
Yeah, he's the guy who didn't get the sex change.
Famous football guy. Shots fired.
Watch out. No, but
really. Tommy's getting fucking some horns on him now. He's getting a little. It's all right.
No, but really, so like Joe Namath and
what did somebody got kidnapped? What happened?
No, so what happened was these 2 kids that were of rich upbringing.
Sure.
Took a boat out. And
oh yeah, I did hear about that on the East Coast somewhere.
Yeah, out of Florida.
And they're like, they don't know where they are. They're missing. What kind of boat was it? Was it a big boat?
No, it was a
little
small
boat?
sailboat.
Like how small? Like 10 feet, 20 feet?
Probably like 40 feet at the most.
40 feet?
I don't know. I'm making shit up at this point.
That's a big. Okay, well, so what? How long? They've been gone like a week?
7 days.
7 days?
7 days since they found the wreckage of part of their sailboat.
Oh, they found the wreckage of part of it. Oh, well, those kids are dead.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, I'd say that probably those kids are dead. I mean, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
How old are those kids?
Like 15, 16-ish.
I don't know. There was that girl from Norway or from Portugal or something that sailed around the world. I think she did like solo. Well, okay, so there was a solo an American woman that did it, but before that there was like a solo. I want to say she was like 12 or 13, like a Norwegian girl that sailed. Yeah, so there's
been many young people that did it. But these guys didn't go out prepared to go sail around the world.
Well, sure. Well, and if they're saying they found wreckage, I mean, I don't know, like how far off the coast of Florida were they? Where, you know, I'd want to know more specifically.
Apparently, it's been as far north as like North Carolina.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good for those kids.
So you got to think Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. In case Jarvis isn't aware of what we're talking about, the kids who were lost at sea from Florida. But that being said, let's move on to something more.
I unfortunately know nothing about that. My bad. I'm out of the loop.
So, all right, Jarvis, what do you think about Bill Cosby in this new... come on. I want to hear Jarvis's take on this. And this new New Yorker cover with all his victims saying that...
I know about his multiple accusers. I don't know about the newest whatever that you're saying, but...
So apparently...
I'm pretty sure that motherfucker's guilty, and I hate that he is. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of us.
I'm pretty sure he is.
But so apparently, in the there was a deposition that was released from 2005, where he said, "Yeah, I buy Quaaludes and I use them on people who want."
Oh yeah, and I did see something where he got some drugs from his gynecologist. Like, what? No.
Isn't that an ironic statement? I got drugs from my gynecologist to rape chicks while they were passed out so they can go see the gynecologist.
That's not ironic. That's just stupid that he is getting drugs from a gynecologist. But that was the 80s. Yeah. I'm not defending it.
Bill Cosby's pussy hurts. So he went and got drugs from the gynecologist. Yeah, no, fuck that guy. Fuck him.
I'm not gonna say that guy. I'm not gonna blanketly say fuck him, but
I will fight Bill Cosby. If Bill Cosby comes to San Antonio and has something to say to me, we can fight. I'm publicly calling out Bill Cosby right now.
Well, he's like 80 years old, so that's gonna be an easy win. And I saw him when I was dating this girl like 9 years ago at the fucking rodeo. Bill Cosby is like the comedic act at the end of the night, and some tall, stupid redneck asshole in front of me was like, "Shut the fuck up, Bill." I said, "You shut the fuck up." And he turns around real quick, and then I pretended I didn't say it. I stood up real quick, like, "Yeah, I don't know who the fuck said that." Like,
yeah. It was really rude of somebody to talk to Bill Cosby that way.
All right, guys, okay, we're at 56 minutes into this podcast.
I'm gonna talk about the Yosoi Un Berliner for a little bit here. So I'm kind of rushing it. I did real quick look at the colors here. The colors are very, very similar. I'd say the Berliner is a little more pale.
To me, it looks a lot more
Yosoi Un Berliner, the Freetail, is maybe a little paler. It's really hard to tell. They're very fucking close. But right away, and I don't know if it's this glass, but right away when I was drinking it, I got that sort of note of bile. Yeah, like when you throw up and then you have like that taste in your mouth afterwards. It is a little bit like that. And you know what? I would say that if you're drinking it, because these are both cans. These are both cans we're drinking out of. The Red Bud, I should have mentioned that earlier. The Red Bud and the Yosoi Un Berliner are both 12-ounce cans. So if you were to drink it out of the can, you wouldn't get the nose notes quite as much as you're drinking it. We happen to be drinking it out of these sort of more beer-style glasses. And we were drinking anybody on the Periscope saw the glasses we were drinking out of, these chalices. I don't know if that's the proper beer drinking word. And I don't know, man. Jarvis having pointed that out to me, I gotta say I like the Red Bud a little better, man. In comparison, it's not as sweet. It's not as.
Which one was the first one?
The Red Bud was the first one.
Yeah, I like the flavor. I like the look of the Red Bud a lot better.
Just smelling the Freetail Yosoi Un Berliner. And I love Freetail. I've worked with many of the people that work there now. Just smelling this, it makes me not want to drink it. I'm actually a little bit scared to drink it. I'm going to do it. It smells like bile.
I got to tell you guys, like, I've had 3 different Freetail beers. And of 3 Freetail beers, I have not been impressed yet. That being said, I just took a big whiff and
have you had the amber, the OG, the amber beer?
I don't know. Have you fed me the amber?
Yeah, I think I maybe have.
than I have, and I don't remember.
I feel like the amber's a solid, like middle of the road.
I'm
amber.
just not down with the free tail at all. For some reason on this particular beer.
This actually tastes better than it smells.
Yeah.
On draft, the smell and the taste are just as bad. The taste is actually not that bad. The smell is kind of vile. And kind of like a bile smell. Yeah. It's vile with bile.
Like when you throw up, and any of the beer drinkers out there, you've thrown up before. It kind of tastes like that phlegm that's in the back of your throat. It smells that way. It smells that way. Yeah, acrid sort of.
It doesn't have a good front end, and it doesn't have a good back end.
But okay, so I just want to talk about briefly here for a second the can though, and this is one of the things I appreciate, and I notice about Freetail is that they're very deliberate with their artwork on the can, and this is very much a San Antonio thing, which is another thing I appreciate. On the bottom is sort of like an amalgamous San Antonio skyline, basically from the brewery. Now that I think about it, from where their brewery is located, what the city skyline looks like from there, and you've got. If you don't understand the reference, "Jo soy un Berliner ich ein," whatever the Kennedy quote when he was speaking.
So
Ich bin ein Berliner.
I'm a Berliner.
So it's on the front of it. The can's orange. Let me say that first of all, and then it has Kennedy in a suit, but it's Kennedy as like a Day of the Dead, like Dia de los Muertos, like.
So we're talking about zombie
like Sugar
Kennedy?
Skull. It's the Sugar Skull thing that you see,
and it's not rude. It's like an appreciation for like the dead. It's honoring the dead. It's not rude in any way.
Right. I mean, so if you're at all uncertain about what we're talking about, Google Day of the Dead, like read about it, like look at some of the artwork that's out there. There's a lot of fascinating stuff that's sort of come out of this tradition. So it's him on one side of the can, standing in front of a podium, giving a speech. And then the other side of the can, it's Jackie O. And this is the part that I think is exceptionally dark. She on the can, she's wearing the blue dress that she was wearing when JFK was shot. Like the video of her like clambering over the car seat to cover him. She's wearing the dress on the fucking can, man. It's ridiculous. And then at the top of the can says, "Let them come to San Antonio." So it is a little bold. It is a little like fucking ballsy. I don't think they're going to pick this beer up like more than a seasonal thing. I think they did a couple runs of it for the summer, and I think they're going to be done with it. They're going to move on and do, an Oktoberfest or something. But you know what? I appreciate Freetail. Oktober Fiesta. I like that. That's that. You actually know that's the product they're coming out with. They did it last year. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I mean, that being said, I'd have to agree with Tommy a little bit. Like, I'm not wowed by any of their beers. Their IPA isn't like, it's a solid IPA. The Helles is like a good wheat beer. Like the Amber's like a good amber. Or Whitticus. The Helles.
So
the Whitticus. Yeah, I've had the Whitticus too. That's really good. So
I would give it a solid 2.5.
2.5. Jarvis?
I wouldn't even go that far, and I love the Freetail family. For this, I would go like 2, maybe 2. Sorry.
I mean, as a rating, I still appreciate it. I would have to give it a 3 at the lowest. But definitely, I would say that as a side-by-side Berliner Weiss, Texas shoot-off comparison, the Red Bud is the clear winner with everyone here.
Definitely the Red Bud. By far. Like, I want to finish the Red Bud. I don't want to finish this. So on that note, we're done. Thank you guys for listening, and this has been a great podcast. I want to talk to Jarvis real quick.
Hi.
Jarvis, this has been a good one, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yes. We're growing up.
We are. We're becoming a little bit more organized. You guys will see a little bit more structure.
I didn't even say a thing about grabbing a duck by its neck and spinning it 3 times to kill it.
Which, by the way, is the most popular comment that I have gotten on episode 1. So Jarvis a murderer.
It's not murdering if it's a duck.
Because apparently killing Cecil is...
shit happens.
That's totally different.
Which is worse than killing ISIS. But we'll talk about that next week.
How many ducks are there versus how many lions, and how many people were upset about a lion versus Sandra Bland? Don't even get me started.
You know the cool thing about a lion?
Don't even get me started.
Is he can
The
hold
cool
you
thing about a
down and
lion?
fuck you in the ass.
Lions won't do that. You know the cool thing about a lion is that they're a fucking lion. That their nose is like as big as your head. And I love cats.
But what about
You
a
love
liger?
cats. Ligers cannot reproduce.
But would you be afraid of a liger?
Yeah, a little bit, because they are bigger than a tiger or a lion. They're like 11 feet long, but they cannot reproduce. They're sterile, but they're still fucking awesome.
Yes. Anyways, so we're done tonight. Thank you guys for coming out. And I
Night.
think we've done a great podcast tonight.
Thanks for having me on your podcast.
MJ, you are the man. So if you guys are in San Antonio, look for the Brick at Blue Star, which is an amazing event space and an amazing place to go and drink.
Yeah, we've got an art opening this weekend, and we're going to have like a DJ on Saturday. Then, of course, the Sunday market, noon to 5, and then Monday's game night. So come on out.
So follow
My
us
short
on
little plug.
Twitter at tom.chase. Follow us on Instagram at twoguysdrinkingbeer.tomchase. And finally, follow us on Facebook at 2 Guys Drinking Beer. We love you, and good night.